Welcome to this week's blogging video. This video is super exciting. It is a Q&A, which is one of the most popular videos. I get all of the questions from our blogging group, our Facebook blogging group, which you can only get into if you buy a course. So little plug, check out the courses because it gets you into a group that is so helpful. People are constantly asking questions. And it was really fun to be able to go through all of these. I basically every 3 months, usually it's 3 months, sometimes it's a little longer, put in I'm doing a Q&A, what questions do you have? And this video is all of those questions that was asked. So we have a lot of questions, which means that we should get into it right away. First, a question. When adding in social media to the mix, how many of the social media posts that are made should point to the blog for more info? Okay, so how I handle this is I have found that some social media posts do really well on the blog and some just do not. Usually it's correlated to Pinterest and how they can be searched on Pinterest. So if it's something that I'm like, okay, there's longevity towards this, or this is worth our time rating, then we'll go and put them on the blog. There's not a huge conversion from if I was to post a story and be like, click here to read the blog post, that conversion is just not very big, which is why I think about the Pinterest side of things, because if that type of post can get a lot of clicks through Pinterest, then a lot more people are more likely to get to it through Pinterest than social media. So more on it's the content itself. You'll learn too, as you keep posting more and more on social media, just what people gravitate towards and what they don't gravitate towards as far as clicking wise. So that's kind of how I figured out. I also, right now we're testing doing just shorter content. So for the social media posts, not spending hours and hours and hours writing them and just more getting them up there with the links. They're not SEO friendly. We try to make them as SEO friendly as possible. But are they Google's favorite posts? No, but Pinterest really likes them. So that's kind of where we are coming at from that standpoint. Also, one other thing is now Google's starting to rank videos. So sometimes I'll search something and I'll see TikTok videos and that will be the first thing that comes up. So I'm more now thinking of how to make my TikTok videos SEO friendly and searchable, which we have an SEO or a social media course, so that kind of goes over how we do that. Next question. How much affiliate income do you make from social media versus your blog? Okay, so historically, we've made way more on the blog for affiliate income than we have on social media. However, we really haven't put a huge effort into linking stuff. If someone asks me a question or if I'm buying something casually, I'll link it, but I haven't really put any strategy towards it, where the blog, we're obviously super strategic with how we handle affiliates. With Google and their new updates, which Google is constantly in influx, so what we're doing right now could not be what they want in 2 months. We don't really know. We're just trying. Google's really given us a run for our money this year, but what we are finding is that Google does not like affiliates on the website as much. So we've kind of restructured our blog posts to be less affiliate heavy, which is obviously having an effect on our affiliate links. We had to think okay, do we want to make more money on affiliates or do we want to make more money on ads and get people to our website still? And we decided we make more money on ads in general than affiliates, which is why we kept the ads, but then removed a lot of the affiliates. So we've seen our affiliate income go down because of that, which is now why I am focusing on affiliates more on social media. This focus is happening right now. I started really trying to focus on affiliates last week, basically. So we've got a lot of testing to do on it. I'm a tester. I'm constantly trying to figure things out. But we make much more money historically on affiliates with our blog than social media. We'll see if that changes in the next couple of years. What is your blog/product marketing and business strategy? Or basically everything, I'm thinking what would I want if I was a consumer, or if I was a reader, or if I was a follower, what would I want to see? That sometimes doesn't correlate into what they want. So like not they as in the social medias or Google wants. So I have to kind of do a fine line because I want to come across really relatable. But sometimes the really relatable stuff like doesn't get pushed out as much with the algorithm. So that's kind of where we have to find that fine line. As far as like, I have to say though, sticking with that and like making sure that everything is something that I would want to purchase has done us incredibly well. Or like even from how we write our blog posts, like if I write it in a way that's like, oh yeah, like if I read that, I would want to buy this. Or if I read that, I would resonate with this. For the planners has become our biggest business that we have. And that fully came from me finding a gap in the market as a insane planner user. I used so many planners and I could never find one that had everything that I wanted. And so I was like, okay, makes so much sense. Like I know what I want. I know exactly the type of pages. I know the layout, but I just can't find it. So like I can go create it and then use my blog and social media as marketing for it and do it in a really natural progression, which it was a super natural progression because I was always talking about organization. I had free printables for the type of planners that I had dreamed of and that I wanted. And so it was just like nothing was ever like random in any of the businesses that I've done. And I think that's like a huge key to my strategy. Another strategy, I'm really going ham with this question, is I'm thinking like super long term. So like I'm always thinking way into the future and thinking, okay, what can I do now that can lead me to this point and this point and this point and this point? So then it does feel like a supernatural progression as the followers and readers go through it all. What would you do differently or the same if you start a blog today? Okay, if I was to start a blog today, I would put even more of an emphasis on Pinterest in the beginning. Things are just not ranking on SEO as easily as they used to. It just is a fact of the matter. But Pinterest is still doing amazing. Pinterest, I've said it forever that you should be putting an emphasis on Pinterest during your first year. But now I'm like, no, like you have to be putting an emphasis on Pinterest this year. I think that it is so important and that's going to be your kickstart into getting a successful start to your blog and even just like starting to get into the ad agencies and getting eyes on it. And then as that goes on, then Google will start trusting you and ranking your content more. How do you film and edit your social media videos lately, like the weekly reset videos? I know how to do it, but it's time consuming. Okay, one, it's so time consuming, like so time consuming. Two, we have a social media course that you will have the link in the bio and that goes over like everything that I do. I edit on CapCut, which I love CapCut. And I mean, what's nice about my type of content is I'm like habit stacking. Okay, have you heard of the phrase habit stacking? I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. Where like you are doing two things at once. And so for me, I'm doing everything that I film is things that I'm actually doing in my real life. Like the weekly reset videos, like I'm cleaning my house. I would be doing that no matter what. It takes me a lot longer when I'm filming it. Like it probably adds on another like hour and a half plus then the editing. So like probably adds on another 2.5 hours of just filming, which is not my favorite thing. But I think they're really relatable. And this goes back to my other question is what would I want to see as a viewer? And I love watching weekly reset videos and that's kind of why I'm doing it. But I use CapCut for editing and then yes, they take freaking forever. Some of them do really well. Some of them don't do really well. That's the algorithm. But I'm gonna keep going because, you know, all of this is the long game. Like I have this one girl that I follow who I'm obsessed with. Like I love her and I just had a long discussion about her yesterday with the team. And I was like, look, like I've been a follower of hers for a long time. Like I felt like I was like in her little club when she had like 1,200 followers on TikTok. And she stayed at that number for like 1.5 years, 2 years, which when I say it out loud, I'm like 1.5 years, that's no problem. Like that's fine. But when you're posting every single day and filming and it takes so freaking long and then you're not seeing any of your numbers increase, it is like a punch to the gut. But all of a sudden she started blowing up and now she has the most loyal following because she continually did it. All of her videos get like above 4,000 likes, which I feel like if you are getting above 4,000 likes for every single video, you are like one of the top people on TikTok. It's just like very hard to consistently do that. And I'm really proud of her. So she is a perfect testament of sticking sticking to things. How to reach out to brands for sponsored blog posts. So my favorite way to reach out to brands is I will either like go to their social media, I make sure I follow them. If I am reaching out to them and I'm not following them, I think that is a huge no-no. Like I will follow that. I mean, some of them I'm like not following. So before I reach out, I follow them and then I'll try to find an email. Sometimes they have their email really accessible. I'll either do some Googling, sometimes I find their customer service email, and then I just have an email that I write that's something like, hi, like I have the social media or I have the blog by Sophia Lee, like I'm obsessed with your product, I use it all the time. Can you point me in the direction of your sponsorship team or your partnership team or whatever it is? And then usually they will get back to me. I do it through DMs too. If I can't find an email, I'll do it through DMs. And sometimes persistence is the best way. I've had them tell me they're not interested. I've had people tell me they are interested. Like it kind of goes back and forth, but that's the best way that I'm actually able to get in touch with a human being, which is what you want. You want to be able to get in touch with a human to tell them what you want to do. How to get readers to actually buy the products you're recommending for affiliate income. I think that comes from like being natural. I always say readers are not stupid. You are not stupid. I'm not stupid. I can tell when someone's promoting something because they actually like it versus when they're promoting something because they just want to make money off of it. That goes back to my like approach of what would I want to see if I was a viewer, how would I want to read a post if I was a viewer, how would I like it worded, etc. And I think that has been very successful. I also like highly push the products that I've actually used, and I know Google is loving blog posts and just content of like non-robots, so you can actually tell it's like a human being writing the post. And so I think that just like adding your own personal stories into it, showing how it affected your life is a really great strategy, and that's what I follow. I also, this is another thing, I make sure that it is very clear how to get to the product. Sometimes I find influencers will talk about something and I'm like, how do I get to this? Like I like it, I want to buy it, but I can't figure out how to get to it. So I'll either like have my URL highlighted like the whole sentence so you have a lot of width to click on it, or I'll make it very clear like here's the bed sheets that I use or whatever it is, so that it's like super obvious what I'm talking about. How to decide what digital product or physical products my audience would purchase from me if I created one. The easiest way to do it, create a free printable of it. That's how I started the whole planner business, is I created free printables of the planning pages that I was using, and they blew up. And from there I was like, okay, those are super popular. People are asking me questions about them. Let's turn this into a product. I know that there are eyes on it and that people are interested. And same with the blogging. Like I didn't start a blog to talk about how to do blogging or to do the blogging courses, but every single day I was getting emails about like, how do I do this on my blog? How do I do this? How did you start your blog? How do you do your Pinterest strategy? How do you SEO your blog posts? Like I was getting asked all the questions. And then I was like, okay, if I'm getting asked all these questions, there's so many silent listeners and viewers who are also thinking the same thing. Like I know that's going to be popular. So I would do the free printables. I would also look at like, what are people emailing you? What are your comments about? What are you getting the most feedback on? And then kind of take it from there. Next question. Hi, Sophie. I know you have a team now that helps you run your blog, but humor me and pretend you're starting over from scratch and you'll be blogging on the side while having a 9-to-5 job from Mondays to Saturdays. How many 1,500 word blogs can you realistically publish, and how would you schedule your week? Thank you. Okay, I love this question because this was me. Like this was fully me for like years of doing my blog. So this is how I did it. So I was a full-time college student. My schedule wasn't necessarily 9 to 5, but all of those hours added up to be 9 to 5. And I treated my college schedule like a 9 to 5 because it made it a lot easier for me to structure out my time. So you have to get up early and go to bed kind of late. This is exactly how I did it. So I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning as a college student. That was like crazy. But I would wake up at 5:30 and then I would do a 45-minute workout, and then I would spend 30 minutes getting ready. This would take me to right around like 7-ish by the time I was actually sitting down on my computer. From 7 to like 8:40 I was able, because like that was like how long my 9 o'clock class would start. I would write my blog posts, and then I would I had like I would do a little during lunch. Some jobs you can do it during lunch, some jobs you can't. But I would usually do like 30 minutes of my blogging at night, and then, or not at night, 30 minutes during lunch. And then after I was done with my school day, which like I would couple in homework time and class time, usually that would be around 5 o'clock, I would go and do another hour of blog posts, and then I would eat dinner, and then I would do another like 2 hours of blog posts. Is that sustainable forever? No, it is not sustainable. Was I really tired? Yes, I was really tired, but I was so motivated and I believed in the blog so much that I just didn't even care. I would say no to social things. I mean, like, my roommates would be like, what are you doing? Like, I made decisions specifically for the blog, but that was able to set me up so that I could take it and do it full time. And so I think that that's what you have to have in your block, in the back of your mind, is like, yes, right now you are working Mondays to Saturdays. Like, that is so long. You are going to be exhausted. You are going to be mentally tired. I didn't have kids. If you have kids, that adds in a whole nother situation to it. Like, what I was doing is not realistic for majority of people, but I knew it was a short time frame, and I knew if I did it, then I would be able to go full time and I wouldn't have to worry about the 9-to-5 job. And then to really answer your question, how many 1,500 word blog posts can you realistically publish in a week? I was doing two blog posts a week. So sometimes 3 if I was lucky, but majority of my beginning stages in my college life, I was just doing 2. That's all I could handle. How do you take photos for your blogs these days? Okay, so most of the photos these days are my photos. We still do get permission. Any photo that's not mine on the website, we've gotten permission to use. Written permission, just in case they were ever to come after me. But I'm really focusing on social media a lot recently, and so that gives me a lot of like photos. I take them with my phone. I don't do anything professional. I don't think that professional photos are super popular right now, and I think the more realistic they are is what just does better. So I'll even do like screenshots from my videos. We'll do screenshots of our TikTok videos. We'll add in our TikTok videos. I mean, all of it comes from the phone, but that's how I'm doing my pictures lately. Do you still write Google SEO posts after all of the changes with Google, or do you write shorter posts that you know will do well on Pinterest still? We do 50-50. So Google is always changing their algorithm. I am a strong believer, if you watch my videos, that we do not change anything that we do super drastically, because that Google does not like that at all. So right now, we know that long form like SEO posts, it's just taking a lot longer to rank on SEO. Which is why we are also doing that 50% of just the shorter posts, taking them from social media, the ones that we know will do well on Pinterest type of thing as well. But I believe that, look, Google liked long form content for like 6 years. I think they're going to go back to liking long form content. And so I don't want to change everything on my website to not have any long form content. And then who knows, tomorrow we could wake up and Google did another algorithm change and now they're back to all long form and we would have been screwed. So our shorter posts are definitely doing better right now. Just on Pinterest, like we are just focusing so much on Pinterest content, but I'm setting it up in a way that like we're not 100% reliant on Pinterest, and we are still adding in the trickles of our long form content that Google used to like a lot. And lastly, how are number these days with all of the Google algorithm updates, and how do you deal with that? So we have been on a roller coaster ride this entire year. Like Google and I are, sometimes I love Google, sometimes I hate it. Like we have seen days where we'll drop so drastically, but then 2 weeks later we're back up to normal and then we go up. Like I cannot figure it out, which is why I'm really trying to just stay consistent with our strategy that has worked for the last 6 years, because I think Google kind of doesn't know what it wants a little bit right now. I'm also like so grateful, and this is why I push so much, like have your eggs in different baskets. With the social media, like we are able to push more product out on social media and hopefully like bring in some of that affiliate income that is down this year. But what is just like so crazy and why I'm like trying to not do anything wild is like as of September through January last year, our blog and our ads and our affiliate revenue had never been higher. Like so significantly high that I'm like, that's why I think Google doesn't know what it wants, because I'm like, how do we go from the highest ever to now being on a roller coaster ride this year? Like, I'm trying to ride out the waves, but our numbers are definitely a roller coaster ride. I don't even like checking them right now because it is such a roller coaster ride where like some days I'll be like, what the F? Like, why are we this down? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But then the next day, it's back up to normal. I can't figure it out. And I think that that's something that you just need to learn how to deal with. Usually it's Pinterest that is putting us into this emotional roller coaster, and this year it is. So we'll see what happens with that. I cannot say enough how we are not changing anything super drastically. We're adding in the shorter posts, but I think Google's gonna go back to normal, and I don't want to change everything and then regret it when Google decides that it wants to do the long form content again. I think the biggest thing that we're focusing on is making sure that our content looks like we wrote it. That's like a huge, like the AI generated thing is swiping through the industry. People's blogs are getting shut down. Mediavine, which is the ad agency I use, they are closing out people that you can tell that they use AI. I mean, do not use AI on your website. So that's kind of our strategy right now, is keep doing what we've been doing, but make it just very clear that it is us writing them, adding personal stories into it, focusing on the social media because they are starting to rank like social media, like the TikTok videos. Who knows? That could be doing better next year than I don't know. They're just really putting us through a roller coaster right now. But excited to see what they do because I think they need a little bit breathe, take a breather. But that's how we're handling that. So that is the end of today's Q&A. But I hope that was super helpful. If you want to join the Facebook group, it is honestly like unbelievably helpful. Then look into one of our blogging courses. We have Perfecting Blogging, which is our SEO strategy. We have Perfecting Pinterest, which is our Pinterest strategy. We have Perfecting Email, which is our email strategy. And then we have our social media course, Perfecting Social Media, which is obviously our social media strategy and what I use to edit and how I film it and how I SEO or social media, etc. So we'll have all of those links in the description. I will see you at next week's blogging video.